Welcome into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Ball and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton, and we are live from Murphy Center with coverage from the TSSAA State Basketball Championships, the Blue Cross hashtag Blue Cross Hoops. And we appreciate our sponsor, Johnson Lake Sporting Goods, for making sure that we are able to be here and on site for this girls' state tournament action. So thank you to Daniel and the fine folks over at Jones and Lang. We are in the mobile Lee Company studio today as we are on the road, as we like to be on occasion.
Yeah, it's nice to get out and see stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, kind of taking it to the people.
That's right. We are, in fact, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us here. We got a great show lined up for you. Noah McKay of the Upper Cumberland Reporter is going to join us at 2:20 to talk a little bit about York Institute, Livingston Academy. He's got a couple of teams here. I guess Cookville is in his area.
Yeah, Cookville's in his area. Upperman was in his area till they got beat by Jackson Southside. I think they had a
pretty solid contingent.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about what's going on in the UCR area. We'll also talk to Green Hill women's basketball coach Joseph Simmons, as his team got a big win over Clarksville yesterday or day before. I don't remember.
I think it was yesterday.
No,
it wasn't.
It was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday.
Tuesday night.
The days start to run together this time of year for sure.
They absolutely do, no question. Great crowd on hand here as Community and Scotts Hill are in a battle in the third quarter. It is 40-37 right now. Scotts Hill leading the Vikings of Community, but 41-37 now after a pair of free throws. But again, great show lined up. We're going to talk a little bit college hoops because obviously there's a Conference USA basketball tournaments going on, SEC tournament over at Bridgestone Arena, and so much more to get to. All coming your way here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Ball and Joint. Mo, it's that time where everybody's leaving Murphy Center for the last time in tears. Whether they're good or bad tears is the difference. And there's no better time for a basketball fan than the 2 weeks that we spend here at Murphy Center for the state tournament.
It really is. I mean, this is, from the summer when everybody goes into their summer workouts and that kind of thing. That's what everybody talks about, is getting to the glass house. And I mean, I guess in Division II, I don't know that they've necessarily coined a nickname or a phrase for Evelyn Center up in Cookville, but every high school basketball player in Tennessee knows where the Glass House is and what it represents to get here, and so this is really cool.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into it. We've got a lot to get to, so we'll start with results and schedules on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Girls high school basketball tournament scores from yesterday. Bradley Central defeated Bearden 55-53. It was Cookville 53, Blackman 51. Both of those were Class 4A quarterfinal results. In Class 1A, Hampton defeated Pickett County 78-64. It was Wayne County remaining undefeated with a 69-48 win over Dresden. Van Buren County with their first ever state tournament victory. Congratulations to them. Downing North Green 55-45, and McKenzie with a 63-44 win over Peabody. Now that's Peabody in Trenton, Tennessee. It's wild that McKenzie and Peabody had to come all the way to Murfreesboro to play a ball.
Yeah,
game.
they're not too far from one another.
They're not far at all. Earlier today, speaking of, Gibson County with a 60-36 win over Decatur County Riverside, and McMinn County defeated Gatlinburg Pittman. Actually, that's McMinn Central. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Defeated Gatlinburg Pittman 62-50.
Women's basketball action in ASUN tournament play. Liberty ends Lipscomb season 84-56, and Florida Gulf Coast with a 51-34 win over Austin P. Today in the Conference USA tournament, Middle Tennessee State down Charlotte 84-53. In men's basketball, it was the SEC tournament at Bridgestone Arena. Ole Miss 67, South Carolina 61. LSU sets up a rematch with Vanderbilt 72-67, their win over Georgia.
College baseball action from Wednesday. Vanderbilt in 17 innings. I'm sure Coach Corbin was excited about what that did to his pitching for this weekend, but a 2-1 win over the visiting Purple Aces of Evansville. UT Southern with a sweep of Oakwood and quite decisive, 17-0 in game one, 16-0 in game two. In junior college action locally, Volunteer State defeated Vincennes out of Indiana 16-3 in 7 innings. Softball action. Tennessee 19, Tennessee Tech nothing. Tennessee Wesleyan 5, Cumberland nothing. Cumberland bounces back in the second half of the doubleheader with a 8-6 win over Tennessee Wesleyan. And in junior college play, Ball State's Lady Pioneers swept Lakeland College 6-2 and 7-3.
That's nationally ranked Tennessee Wesleyan, by the way, 18th in the country. Cumberland getting a big win there. So got to give it up right there for the
Lady Phoenix.
Phoenix women rising. Yeah. They rise. State tournament action in progress right now. Community in Scottsdale. Scottsdale still leads 41-37. As we told you just moments ago, no score since that last break there. Still no change currently. All right. And Westview York Institute, a rematch of last year's state championship game, Westview and York Institute at 2:45. Livingston Academy and South Gibson at 4:30. Elizabethton, Jackson Southside, undefeated Jackson Southside at 6 o'clock in the nightcap. Tomorrow morning, you can catch Bartlett and Green Hill. And as we said,
that score just changed.
Yeah. You can catch Green Hill at 10 o'clock against Bartlett. Bradley Central, one loss Bradley Central versus defending state champion Cookville.
I don't think
No?
so.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But they'll play at 11:30 in Hampton, Wayne County. We talked about Hampton earlier this week yesterday with Heather Williams. They've lost just twice this year. Wayne County undefeated. That's a 1:15 tip. Be worth watching.
Men's college basketball action later today. Middle Tennessee State takes on Charlotte at 6 p.m. in the Conference USA tournament out at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Again, that's a 6 o'clock tip. You can see it on ESPN+. SEC first round. It's not the first round because they played 2 games yesterday.
Oh, that was just.
But yeah.
I just didn't change that. I apologize.
Oh, okay, you're good. Currently ongoing at Bridgestone is Mississippi State and Florida. That game should
probably
be
close to over.
Yeah.
Let me check on that while you
Ole
keep
Miss
doing
and
that.
Tennessee are scheduled for a 2 o'clock tip on the SEC network. I don't think that has happened. At 6 o'clock, it's Arkansas and Auburn. And at 8 o'clock, it's LSU and Vanderbilt. Again, all of those games can be seen on the SEC network.
It has not tipped because we're in overtime. Mississippi State 62, Florida 59 with 3 minutes to play in overtime.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Softball today, 6 o'clock, cross campus. Southern Illinois, the Lady Salukis coming in to take on Jeff Breeden's Lady Raiders. Again, that's a 6 o'clock first pitch. Trevecca played Staten Island at 12:30 and plays Wheeling at 2:45. Not sure where.
It's in Florida somewhere.
Oh, okay. Some beach.
Some beach.
Yeah. In the association, in Leesburg, Florida. Okay. In the association, Golden State comes to FedEx Forum, takes on the Memphis Grizzlies. That's a 6:30 tip on TNT. And at 8 o'clock on Valley Sports South. There we go. The Predators travel to Arizona, take on the Coyotes out in Glendale, and that is your rundown.
Speaking of the Grizzlies, top story today, as Yow Morant will not face charges in Colorado, which is really important.
It is important.
But he also is still going to miss some time with the team, at least 4 games. Games.
4 more games.
Yes.
Yes. So, I think the Grizzlies and the NBA are still kind of sorting out what to do with Ja.
What are we going to do with you, boy?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yep. So we'll see how that goes. I need to get that ironed out one way or the other so that the team and so that Ja can try to go forward. And I don't know if put this situation behind them is necessarily the right phrase, but try to move on from it and hopefully learn from it.
Right. Now, Morant will miss games against Golden State, obviously, tonight. They've got the Mavericks on Saturday, and then they go to the Mavericks on Monday, and then they're at Miami on the 15th. He could play at San Antonio as of now on March 17th, but there's no guarantee of that, according to the AP article that I'm reading from.
It's a fluid situation, Chris.
The Glendale Police Department said it looked into the video, which was a stream that Morant showed on his Instagram channel while he seemed to be holding a firearm and found no proof that a crime was committed. Glendale is an enclave surrounded by the city of Denver. So,
surrounded by the city of Denver.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like
it's kind of like a dimple. for those of you who are familiar with that term in regards to geography. But yeah, so that's interesting. It also concluded no one was threatened or menaced with the firearm, and in fact, no firearm was ever located. So here's the thing, and that this is the biggest part of this whole thing, is that they didn't find the gun. Was it Ja's gun? We don't know. Could have been some dude Ja was hanging with.
I mean, the IG video just makes it not a good look, regardless of whose gun it was.
It's a terrible look, especially considering what had just come out the day before.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's the big issue for Ja. Now, if it's not his gun and he didn't fly with it on a plane, obviously he didn't. Even if you fly, not private, but even if you fly with a chartered plane, you still have to go through security protocols. And I mean, getting a gun on a plane is like the hardest thing in the history of America.
It's not easy.
So,
hey, not speaking from firsthand experience, but from what I've heard, it's not an easy process, nor is it supposed to be.
Right. So there you go. I just feel like this is an interesting situation now that no gun was located. So. The Grizzlies nor Morant have really commented much on this situation, as they shouldn't.
No.
They should
not a whole lot to say.
Just leave it be. And that's it. That's the way it should go. So Anyway, MORANT will miss at least 4 more games. Could play in San Antonio. If they're on the road, highly unlikely that he would play in that game, I would think. But
yeah, I would not expect him to play before they get back home.
Right. Of course, like I said, though, if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm keeping Ja as close as I can to as many people as I can. I want to keep an eye on him.
Yes, he's got to be. I don't want to, you don't want to say babysat, but I mean, somebody's got to keep an eye on him. I'm being redundant, but right now, you just don't know what he's going to do. So you need to kind of minimize his opportunities
for exposure
to do something stupid.
Yeah. As attorneys would call it, exposure. Limit your exposure.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Don't do stupid things to hurt the team.
Don't do stupid stuff to hurt the team.
As Mike Vrabel would say.
Thank you, Mike Vrabel.
Yep.
For a fantastic quote.
Absolutely.
Fantastic quote. All right. Again, later, we've got Noah McKay. He's standing by. He's going to join us here in just a few moments. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, live from Murphy Center in the Mobile Lee Company studio. We're coming to you from the Blue Cross Basketball State Championships in Murfreesboro. We'll be right back on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton here with you, live from Murphy Center in the Mobile Lee Company studio. Glad to be with you, and thanks again to Jones and Lang for sponsoring our coverage from Murphy Center here this week and next week at Middle Tennessee State in the Blue Cross Basketball Championships. To talk a little Blue Cross Basketball Championships, we reached out earlier today, Mo, because some folks have a lot of teams that they're dealing with here, while others have
none.
Zero.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk girls basketball state tournament, we might as well speak to someone who has a quarter, I think, of the 32 teams that were actually here to begin the week. Noah McKay of the Upper Cumberland Reporter. Y'all had 8 teams, right?
We had 7, I think.
7. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Still, quite a few. 7 teams. We had 8 who could have been here, and 2 Upper Cumberland teams played each other to knock each other out. So, that's how it goes.
So it's been team no sleep for you then, basically, huh?
Absolutely right. You combine the fact in that we're trying to, run a little media company. Some people want to get paid on Friday, so you throw that into the mornings, and then 5:30 to about 9 p.m. Let's just do it. But you know what? First of all, thanks for having me on, guys. It's always a pleasure for me, but and an honor. But you know,
maybe after today you could make the top 5 list.
I know I'm doing what I can. Okay, I just was one of the 5. I could be 5. I get it. There's some big time celebrities on there. I try to bring some energy, but
you bring some energy, you bring some knowledge, man, and it was a complete oversight on our part to not have you in there.
That's okay.
So, hey, that was a mistake.
Listen,
that draft
was
a
a bad. Yeah, it was a bad decision.
That
Unless
was a
you're
bad
on the list. Well, then some of the people who are on the list weren't happy about where they were on the list.
Well, they were unhappy about who picked them. We love you, John, or I do. I don't know about Mo.
Oh,
apparently.
I do, without question. I absolutely love John. I'm not sure John loves me.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
This is not the best thing in the world, though. We were sitting here yesterday talking about long days. 1 o'clock, Cook goes playing.
Who
Black
cares?
Man. We could be at a cubicle. And I'm in here in the Murphy Center's going crazy. It's the best job in the world.
No
It's
question.
amazing.
Yesterday was the worst day ever. The four of the best teams in the state of Tennessee had to play one another
right out of the box.
Right out of the way.
But that adds to the excitement of the state tournament, the blind draw that's involved with that. Now, obviously, it's not as cool anymore as it used to be with the lottery balls and whatnot. But it's still this is an atmosphere that you really can't match. I mean, Mo, we talk all the time about, or I talk all the time about how much I love the way Alabama does things. But Legacy Arena, the BJCC is a 17,000 seat arena. It's not the same. This is an atmosphere. You cram these people in here. The entire community of community is here.
They're all here. They're all right there.
Unionville is here.
Right here.
Every window is painted, gone to the game. You know, and you can't beat it.
They shut down Pickett County schools yesterday.
Absolutely.
Shut them down.
We're not going to be. Matter of fact, if you were a criminal.
I mean, I don't want to encourage criminal
but if you're near Unionville and you're looking.
But if you wanted to do something in Unionville, probably now would be the time to do it.
It's wide open.
Yeah, absolutely.
The cops are here too. So.
Yeah, everybody's here.
The one cop in
cop.
Unionville.
Singular.
With his bullet in his
Barney Fife with his one bullet. Yeah, exactly. Noah, Upper Cumberland reporter, I feel safe in saying that York Institute is in your coverage area.
They certainly are. Right in the heart of it.
So you're getting ready for this next one against defending state champion Westview in, as Chris pointed out, a rematch of last year's state championship game.
In round one.
In round one.
Again, yeah. The Lady Dragons with a score to settle.
They certainly have a score to settle.
How do they...
It's a matchup.
You know, how much of a conversational point has that been for them since 11 o'clock Saturday night?
Well, it's been a conversation point since whatever the date was of the championship game last year. And not necessarily Westview, but hey, they finally got here. They looked really good here, finishing that job off. And whether it was Westview or somebody else, it's a York team that's very dialed focused. Last year, Sub-State, when they won it, it was very much a jubilant, we did something, yay. And they've talked about it this year. This year, they won Sub-State. Yep, we won Sub-State. On to the next game. So
business as usual.
It was on the checklist.
It was.
This time.
And they actually have a checklist. They're going down, checking it off. And Sub-State was just another way. And so Westview being in the way, not a surprise. All year long, we were looking at it. The draw fell differently. I thought it was pretty clearly going to be your championship game. I'll put it this way, Mo, and we can talk about the players. We watched Cook throw a lot this year, obviously. We've seen high-level basketball everywhere. South Gibson came into a tournament that we did in Sparta. In my opinion, pound for pound, York Institute's the best girls basketball team I've seen in person this season.
Wow.
They are legit.
Okay, now hold up
yes.
now. York Institute in 2A is the best girls basketball team you've seen this year.
Yes.
Now, you also cover Cookville.
We do. Cover Upperman.
You also cover Upperman.
Livingston
you also
Academy.
cover Livingston Academy.
Yes.
Okay. Now, say that again.
Best, and here's why. So
Okay.
they were here a year ago. They lost 2 seniors. They replaced them with 2 freshmen who have a more complete game. Rayleigh Warner's a player who's going to get a lot of people's attention today. She can shoot the 3, but her best aspect, she's a tremendous defender. Goes sideline to sideline for a York team that plays a ton of man-to-man. Reese Beatty, the sophomore point guard, Miss Basketball finalist. I covered Akira Levy. Everybody remembers her from Upperman. Reese Beatty is
Don't.
not necessarily a better player yet. As a passer, the most gifted high school passer that I have seen. And you'll see it today.
Oh, good
And I
Lord.
don't
Because
just-
I saw Akira
And
Levy,
now,
and she
Akira-
came
yes.
down here, and she put on an absolute
And
show.
Akira, and the jump this year for Reese has been, she's always been a great passer. This year, her feel for the game, when she needs to be the dominant scorer, has changed. Quite frankly, in that championship game last year, they needed her to be the dominant scorer. She was still trying to
she wasn't ready for
facilitate.
it.
This year, there's been moments where she scored 14
understands.
points. There's been other moments where she scores 28. And it's a York team, and they have 2 losses. One came 2 weeks into the season, neutral side against Coffee County. The other came in December at Cookville when Warner didn't play. They played Cookville in Jamestown 2 weeks left in the regular season, right at the end in the beginning of February, and they beat them by 11. This is a York team that's very good. Now, Westview's very good as well. That's why we're so excited for this game. But this is a York team that is legit with a capital L.
It's why we're sitting where we're sitting.
No doubt.
Because, we could have been on the concourse where everybody could see us, but we knew
You need to be in here.
Westview, York
York.
Institute, 245 is going to be an absolute barn burner.
And Jada Harrison against Reese Beatty. That is, you want to see something. And Westview plays that 2-3, so you may not see it on that end. York's going to play man-to-man today. And they're going to put Reese Beatty on Jada Harrison, and it's going to be must-see television.
MTSU signee Jada Harrison.
Yes, indeed.
By the way.
And it's a Reese Beatty girl who already has a Power 5 offer from Clemson. I think she has 27 Division I offers as a sophomore from Jamestown, Tennessee.
You don't just happen up on Jamestown, Tennessee. You got to be going there.
You certainly do.
Yeah. Noah McKay of the Upper Cumberland Reporter joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Noah, I don't know as much about you as I should probably. I don't know exactly your background, where you're from, that kind of thing. But I've been covering high school sports around here for a while.
Longer
Don't
than
say
I've been
anything.
you pointed at me.
I was pointing at you to tell you to shut up.
Oh, no, no.
But my point, there are a lot of people around here who are excited to see Livingston Academy
Absolutely.
back on this stage.
Absolutely.
Saw Leslie Smith play here at Livingston Academy. She's got this team back up here. It's Leslie Smith Riddle. Hawkeye is in full force.
It's alive. Hawkeye's alive. And look, we were hoping, the blind draw got us a little bit. We were hoping we were going to get round 5 Upperman Livingston because they had some absolute wars this year. And Livingston team's really good. And they came out in the first quarter against Greenville and laid an egg a little bit. The moment was big. They haven't been on this floor.
Right.
And then in the third quarter went on a huge run. I think it was 18-4 outscored them. And I tweeted out, this is the LA team we've seen all year. They got a great sophomore who did not play her best game, Ellie Butler. Complete player, very good player. For example, District 7 AAA has Abigail Johnson, a Miss Basketball finalist. Wow. Has a Miss Basketball finalist. And Ellie Butler actually won regular season MVP within that district. Within that district. So, very good player. They've got size with Hallie Ledbetter and Aaliyah Melton. A really good point guard, Nally Jean Coleman, who kept them afloat in the game against Greenville. It's a Livingston, and they're so well coached. And that Leslie Riddle is just 700-plus wins. She's won state championships. She just understands the game, and she's got a good staff around her. It's a Livingston team. How good are they? They also beat Cookville this year on a buzzer beater. Awesome game.
It's pretty amazing when you talk about Leslie Riddle as a coach having won 700-plus games, because I think she played for our guy, Larry Looper, who probably won about that many as well. It's when you talk about 2 coaches at one school that have won 1,500 ball games between them, that just kind of tells you the type basketball that you're talking about.
And Mo, it's funny because I put all the time, the Upper Cumberland's the mecca of girls basketball, and people think that, I'm being an Upper Cumberland homer.
No.
The real reason is, you think back to the 90s, Jackson counties of the world, the Livingston academies of the world. When those teams were doing, that built the tradition. So you got a lot of these schools where the girls basketball tradition has been built in the 2000s, and then you go out there into the Upper Cumberland where it's been their grandmama played when it was 6-on-5, their mama played, and now their mama's an assistant coach, and they play, and that tradition has kind of built it in. And I mean, that's why we are very busy this week.
And you didn't even mention Clark Range and Pickett County.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about that Pickett County team? Makes it here. Nobody expected them to. No seniors on the roster. None. Brent Smith does a great job up there in Byrdstown, and Clark Range is in Sub-State. And Clay County, who've been here 2 straight years, really stunned us all when they lost. They lost in the semifinal. We thought they were going to be here, and all of a sudden, Pickett County and Clark Range had something to say about that.
Now, again, when you talk about the Upper Cumberland as the Mecca, if anybody wants to argue with you, I want to hear their argument. So,
and you know, and I don't say that, you know, obviously Southside beat Upperman. Southside's a great team, but these teams are battle tested. Livingston,
from playing each
they
other.
play each other. Livingston go down 16. They don't even blink. They're used to it. You get some teams who are running roughshod over their schedule. They get to this moment, they're not tested. It's why a team like York scheduled Wright County, scheduled Cookville twice, scheduled a Coffee County. They schedule these teams because they knew they had to be prepared for this moment.
And it's amazing to me the number of coaches that don't grasp that concept. I would rather come in here with 10 losses against good teams.
Absolutely.
Where my team has been with its back up against the wall and maybe hasn't been successful in all of those situations. But you know how they're going to react in that situation here.
And you can go into that locker room at halftime and say, we've been here before. There's a lot of coaches going in that locker room and can't say we've been here before, and you see it all the time. It just, there's a deflation.
Deer in headlights.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely right. Upper Cumberland teams don't have that very often.
We're looking at a tie ball game here with 3.4 seconds left.
It's not tied.
Oh, it's not tied no more.
Got a 1 point lead.
Okay, so she just hit both free throws. 3.4 seconds. We got, oh my goodness.
1 second. Block it.
Oh,
they called a foul.
Holy cow.
3-shot foul.
A 3-shot foul. Number 25 for Scotts Hill is going to the line with a chance
to win it.
To win the basketball
with no time.
game. Well, there's got to be time.
They're going to go put 0.3 seconds.
You got to put time on the court.
I will say this. I'll put on my play-by-play and that's a hat. That was absolutely a foul.
Oh, 100%.
It was absolutely before the buzzer.
How many times have we said it? If it's a foul in the first 5 seconds, it's a foul in the last 5 seconds.
There's no question it's a foul. The question is why is she contesting?
Exactly right.
What are you doing?
She's not even running up. You're going to put up a shot.
No, she's going to shoot it flat-footed from 3/4 of the court.
No way. I'm having flashbacks.
Oh, here we go. I don't even want to. Oh my goodness, she's got to hit both to tie.
There's so much pressure on that young girl right now.
Okay, if she misses this one,
you got to miss
the last one.
You got to miss it on purpose.
On purpose and barrel in the line.
All right, here we go. She's missed 2. Oh, Unionville is going wild right now. I know because they're all here. And of course,
made the last one. That's it.
And that's the ball game.
And you know their prize, guys.
That is
York tomorrow on this floor.
And congratulations.
Absolutely.
We've got some Unionville fans here fired up behind us. Congratulations to the Vi Queens on their advancement in the Class 2A state tournament. 53-52 the final score.
You sure you don't want to go to a cubicle right now?
Absolutely
rather be at a
not.
desk somewhere?
Let me be anywhere else but here, and I'm going to be mad.
Absolutely.
Man, so
that's why you come here.
That was an ending right there. Yeah, and that's the thing about high school basketball. You don't know what you're going to see, man.
Not in a state tournament. You just know that both teams are good enough to get here. You may see a blowout. We've seen it.
And that's what always kills me when people say, 40-point game. You may be right, but also you probably aren't. The odds are it's going to be a tight game because you made it here for a reason. I mean,
absolutely. So our next game now again is Westview and York. It won't be at 2:45.
It will not be at 2:45.
Yeah, but
well, it'll be 2:50.
They've got 15 minutes on the clock, so it'll be pretty close. And our guest Noah McKay of the Upper Cumberland Reporter will be covering that game. So we probably need to let you get.
You need to follow him.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are not following this guy, then I don't know what you're doing with your life. But you can follow him at Twitter at Noah McKay, UCR. And if there's anything you want to know about basketball or anything else up on the Cumberland Plateau,
Baseball,
this is
softball,
your guy.
it's coming right down the pike.
There we go.
Saturday.
Who do you guys have to pay attention to in softball and baseball?
With baseball, we got Upperman's the reigning Class 3A champion.
Right.
They return everybody and their mother from last year's team, so they will be a force to be reckoned with. Softball, White County, very good. They were in the sub-state round the last couple of years trying to get over the hump. They lose a girl who went to Ole Miss, but they'll be good as well. Typically, we are a lot lighter in the spring fling than we are in the state tournament, but those are the two teams I would say I feel pretty confident. The Upperman boys are going to be in the state tournament. The White County girls got a good shot.
Now, who do you have in next week's boys tournament?
We've got the White County Warriors who knocked off Austin East. Trip Pinion. Learn that. Two names to remember. Japeth Richmond, 6'7" power forward, can jump through the rafters. Just an incredible player. Trip Pinion, sophomore, people own from football. Great point guard. Hit the buzz beater on Austin East. And we've got the York Dragons. We got a really good draw next week in the AA boys state tournament. So those are the two. It's a lighter week on the boys' side, too, for us. This is our real busy week.
There you go. And I'll tell you what, if you've never been to a basketball game at Sparta, let me say 2 words: theater seats.
Trip Pinion hit that buzzer beater, and it hit 117 decibels in that gym. A jet is 120. My guy who was there, Michael Lindsay, does a great job. Goose UCR, sorry for the free shout.
No.
We do love Goose.
At Goosey's, my staff is unbelievable, but he was there, and he literally said his ears were hurting after leaving that gym on Monday night.
That's fantastic.
That is fantastic.
That's what we love to hear, and we appreciate you hanging out with us. Get down there, enjoy this one, and we'll be watching from up here with a bird's eye view of this next game, but we appreciate you, Noah, for hanging out with us, and we will see you. We'll try to get you on next week as well.
Yeah, I hope to be on the list one day. That's all. Just one day. Next year's draft, maybe. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
That draft will never happen again.
Ever.
Noah, we appreciate it, man.
All right, we are going to take a quick break here. When we come back, college hoops, SEC tournament, Conference USA tournament, all that and more on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We'll be back to the Mobile Lee Company studio in Murphy Center right after this.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton here with you on this. Normally, a Coach's Corner Thursday, and we would have had Coach's Corner in the last segment, but we're going to push that to the 3 o'clock segment, so stick around for that as we have Joseph Simmons is going to join us to talk about his Green Hill Lady Hawks, who are also here in the state tournament. Big win over Clarksville on Tuesday, so they'll continue in the state semifinals.
Tomorrow.
That's right. They'll play tomorrow against Bartlett.
Yes.
So
that's the lid lifter.
Yeah, that's the 10 o'clock game. We'll be here for it, hopefully.
We'll be all coffeeed up.
Ready to go. You're stopping at Waffle House on the way in.
There we go.
Little Waffle House. But
Never go wrong.
You can never go wrong at Waffle House. That's right. So right now, though, Mo, we're talking a little college hoops. Big news out of the college basketball ranks right this second is the retirement Jim Boeheim. 47 years, man.
And it had been long thought that this was going to be his last year. And once they lost yesterday to, I think it was Wake Forest, in the opening round of the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament, which really sounds odd even to this day. But
Syracuse is in the ACC?
Yes, exactly. I mean, you can't think Syracuse and not think Big East, I don't think. But, after in the post game, it sounds as if it was a done deal that was Jim Boeheim's last game. And it turned out that an announcement was made after the post-game press conference that he was stepping down, and that former Syracuse point guard Adrian Autry, who has been the associate head coach under Boeheim for a pretty good while, would be his successor. And in true Jim Boeheim fashion, never miss an opportunity to be a pain in the ass, Jim Boeheim. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News had an article that went up late yesterday afternoon. Jim Boeheim never goes out easily. And this was just another case of that. He mentioned, to acknowledge this gracefully would not really be Boeheim, though, would it? Sat there Wednesday afternoon with an opportunity to declare Adrian Autry as a successor, even to make it appear as though it were his idea to have one of the many SU legends he helped create follow him with the plan to turn out many more. Wasn't the case. And yet, exactly. Yeah, I mean, guy just kind of manages to go out of his way to be confrontational, it seems like. And it's, again, had the opportunity to set Autry up and set himself up to kind of ride off into the sunset, and couldn't bring himself to do it. So, but he is no longer the coach. I don't know if he retired or not. He was 78 years old. And we talk about guys who have earned the right to go out on their own terms, and for what he did for Syracuse basketball, he's certainly one of those. But
sometimes you got to know when to go out.
Mm-hmm.
You can stay too long, though.
Oh, absolutely.
That should be one of our taglines on this show. You can stay too long.
You can stay too long.
Jim Boeheim is the second all-time.
He was, yes, behind Mike Krzyzewski. One of two men's basketball coaches with more than 1,000 victories. Bobby Huggins is number 3. I don't know if he's going to get there.
Is Bob Huggins
former Akron coach? Bob Huggins. Saw Bob Huggins coach in this arena.
Is Bob Huggins the best college basketball coach never to win a championship?
Ooh, that's a good. We're just full of good questions. We had one at lunch earlier today, but yeah.
Wow. He's the only one on that list without one.
That's true. of the top 7 career wins leader in NCAA Division I. Krzyzewski, Boeheim, Huggins, Jim Calhoun, Roy Williams, Bob Knight, and Dean Smith.
Now,
so yeah, Huggins is the only one without one.
Huggins gets a little bit, and he wouldn't be in that conversation if Kenyon Martin doesn't get hurt. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Cincinnati wins the national championship, and Andy Kennedy may never exist as a head coach. So there's that. But I think he's got to be. I mean, just based on the win. I know, I get it. Akron, Cincinnati, not exactly.
Wow.
He's just like, what happened? They probably didn't want to walk behind.
Guess we got to get him to sign a release now, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, he wouldn't be, he's still got 934 wins. I don't care where you get him at. That's a lot. You got to beat the teams in front of you, and
that's it.
He did it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's done a great job everywhere he's been. Like you said, at Akron, at Cincinnati, at West Virginia. And I don't know if this is it for him. I don't know if he has another 66 wins.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be happy coaching, but I don't know.
It's crazy because Boeheim is one of a couple of guys that is leaving ACC basketball programs. Mike Bray announced some weeks ago that he and Notre Dame would be parting ways at the end of this season. Now, that's not being called a retirement.
No, he's just...
In fact, Bray's name has been mentioned in connection with St. John's, which I thought they had a coach.
St. John's has a coach. Well, we know, we covered the SEC enough to know that don't matter.
That's just a minor detail. Yeah.
That can change easily.
I'm sure Mike Anderson would have something to say about that. And I'm sure Patrick Ewing would have something to say about Mike Bray's name being mentioned at Georgetown.
He wouldn't have a whole lot to say. What's he going to say? I'm sorry, Patrick Ewing. Somebody mentioned this on Twitter yesterday. They were like, they were talking about Austin Peay. And they said, we need a former NBA player who's, they're all doing great things. And he mentioned Penny and mentioned all these people that said Patrick Ewing are doing outstanding jobs. And I was like, Patrick Ewing is doing nothing outstanding. There is nothing outstanding about what Patrick Ewing is doing.
Yeah. And again, the Patrick Ewing situation at Georgetown in particular, it's painful to me for the fact that
Georgetown was a power.
Well, but Georgetown really slipped under John Thompson III.
It did.
And the guy that replaced him wasn't able to bring it back. And I just hate seeing deities go back to their alma maters just for the fact that if it doesn't work and they won't step down, then you got to force them out. How do you fire
your legend?
How do you fire your legend?
It's hard to do.
That was part of my issue at Memphis.
It's hard to hire Penny.
It wasn't as hard as it should have been.
Right.
But it's going to be hard to fire Penny.
Well, may not need to. But he's doing okay.
He is starting to kind of swing it around a little bit.
He's doing okay.
They lost a tough one Sunday.
Yeah, but I still feel. I feel like this is one of those teams that Memphis is going to find their way. In the AAC, it's a tough conference, but you're losing Cincinnati. You don't have to worry about them anymore. But you gain UAB and Andy Kennedy. So that's a whole thing in of itself. There's a lot. But Memphis isn't 7-24 either.
And thank goodness.
Yeah, because then you're in a situation where Patrick Ewing is in.
Right.
So, thinking about the SEC tournament, and as we mentioned earlier, LSU Vanderbilt rematch. we said yesterday that was going to be something that was important for Vanderbilt. Here's something else that's important for Vanderbilt. Michigan lost to Rutgers. And if you don't think that matters, it matters.
I hope it matters.
They need a lot of bubble teams to start losing. The good thing is they are. Mississippi State unfortunately lost to Florida or beat Florida, so they're still going to be solid in there. But honestly, I mean,
well, you picked Mississippi State to beat Alabama.
I did. I'm just saying for Vanderbilt's sake.
Yeah,
you kind of thought Mississippi State loses to Florida, they're out.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, you look at some of these bubble teams. It would be nice if Ohio State would lose. Trying to think if there's any other teams that have already played today. I don't see any other teams that have played today. But I mean, the more bubble teams that lose, the better it is for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt needs to avenge that loss to LSU on a neutral floor. They need to go ahead and get another win against Kentucky, and I think they're in a good spot as long as other things around them happen.
Sure.
Now, I'm a little surprised that Ole Miss lost or beat South Carolina. We both thought South Carolina would win that game.
I really thought South Carolina was playing well coming into that ball game.
But interim coaches, man, you never know what's going to happen because you don't know what the locker room was like before.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a talented team. They beat Florida Atlantic.
Well, that's what an SEC team is supposed to do to Florida Atlantic. But still, yeah. That's
Florida didn't
win.
do it.
Yep. So,
I mean, when you're talking about a talented team who gets a little rejuvenation, it's a really big word.
Rejuvenation. There we go.
Thank you. Get a little bit of excitement rolling in that locker room, and next thing you know, Tennessee's playing Ole Miss right now, and who knows what might happen.
Yeah. It was kind of cool to see Kermit's tweet last night. Great win, go get Tennessee. Let's go get Tennessee.
I like that. I mean, look, having the self-awareness to be like, I didn't get it done. It's on me. I didn't get it done. I think that's fantastic. He loves those kids. He recruited those kids. He promised those kids, and to continue to support them throughout this is that's pretty big.
It's pretty big, and I don't really think it surprises anybody that knows Kermit. But it's still cool to see up there.
Speaking of, Brady McAtamney, Main Street, Clarksville, listed Kermit Davis as a possible replacement at Austin Peay.
Oh, wow.
It would make some sense.
Oh, it certainly makes some sense. I mean, he's a name. He's had some success in this area. A lot of folks are familiar with him.
Because think about Shaka Smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are certain coaches who have a ceiling, and sometimes mid-majors are that ceiling. So it's what are you going to do? But when you are at a mid-major and you realize that is your ceiling and you just stay there, you can be a legend.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think Kermit's ready to go to the house.
No. He could.
He could.
He's probably not ready.
Absolutely could. Thanks to that contract.
Exactly.
But, I mean, 477 and 317 in his career. 5 NCAA tournament appearances.
Went to the Sweet 16.
So, I mean, it's not. It makes sense.
I could see it. We talked about, Corey Gibson, but maybe Corey Gibson doesn't have quite the, he doesn't have a track record. He's only been a head coach for 1 year. I think it's a great option, but if you give it to Kermit and give him 5 or 6 years, let Gibson do his thing, maybe Kermit gets you back to competitiveness, and then he decides he wants to hang it up. And then you've got a guy who comes in with a little track record.
Right.
He's a guy, again, a legend. You got to be careful. I mean, he's not Fly Williams, but he still played there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of guys who played there, Brady also mentioned Scott Combs, who is currently the top assistant at Moorhead and played for Dave Luce, coached under Dave Luce at Austin P. That might be a good one.
I think all of the names he has on here. I think Brian Ayers is a great option.
These are some really solid names that Brady has come up with here. You know, I'm not sure how excited I am about current Austin P assistant Carl Little, but I don't know the program as well as Brady does either. But I don't necessarily see Gerald Harrison staying in house for this hire.
No, I don't either. Especially if a guy like Kermit or Corey Gibson is interested in the job. But yeah, I would love to see. I would love to see a guy like Kermit Davis at Austin P or something similar.
Yeah. So, that's good stuff.
11-10 Tennessee right now at the first media timeout. Again, Ole Miss hanging in right there with them. 6 points from Josiah Jordan James for Tennessee so far.
There you go.
My dad asked me a question last night, and he said, with the SEC tournament and 16 teams, what do you do for the basketball tournament? I mean, the good thing is 16 lends itself to even brackets.
Yeah, you don't have to really. Well, that's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, because you don't have to.
I think you would
rig something up, but you don't. That double bye, I think, for those top 4 teams, again, it kind of incentivizes the regular season, and that's not necessarily.
Well, you could still do a double bye.
So you make.
You could still do a double bye because you could have two games on either side of the bracket. They move into the next 2 seeds, and then they move into the next 2 seeds in the semifinals.
Okay. Yeah.
They would just get even closer to the championship.
Yeah.
You could still do a double bye.
Well, I think if you could do that, I think that might be the thing to do.
I would agree.
Because, again, I like the top 4 or the top X, getting something for being the top.
Sure.
X.
Well, and that's what we liked about the 12-team college football playoff. Is the bye and the home game.
And that's funny because, again, until I first heard that, I had never really thought 12 teams. I was thinking 8 or 16, but I think 12 is perfect for that because, again, it incentivizes those top 4.
It even incentivizes the top 8 because you still get a home game.
Yeah.
Those next 4 get a home game. So that makes sense. And the baseball tournament, same thing. Right now, they're only taking 12. And I think you got to go to 16.
I think you have to. Because, I mean, who are you going to leave out?
And I can tell
once you get to that field,
Hoover's not going to be mad about it.
No.
That's a guarantee. I mean, Hoover said, more games? Yes, please.
Bring them.
We ain't got nothing else going on.
Literally.
We have nothing else to do.
Nothing.
Just come hang out. We're all here for you. So there you go. All right. Well, let's see here. Conference USA tournament, women's action. We told you Middle Tennessee State was a winner earlier over Charlotte. Obviously, the men awaiting their date with Charlotte at 6 o'clock tonight, but already in Conference USA play on the men's side. Western Kentucky yesterday with a big win. They moved into play Florida Atlantic. Rice also edged out UTSA, 11th-seeded UTSA. Beat them 72-71. Had to hold them off to get their chance at UAB. It's interesting because we got a game starting at 5:30, a game at 6 because they're on those 2 courts side by side. And then a game at 8 and 8:30. I'll tell you, and you know this from being a youth league official, You got to have some dampening sound for those whistles. You got two side-by-side courts. You hear a whistle over here, and you stop.
Well, I mean, you've got the curtain though,
and it must be a pretty good curtain.
And you've got a pretty good crowd there, I would imagine. So that'll help. Middle with UTEP 64-54 win in another women's quarterfinal. Middle will play UTEP in tomorrow's 4:30 semifinal game. It'll be the second time in less than a week that they played. UTEP forced overtime on this floor last Saturday before Middle won 72-68
and beat them in El Paso.
in El Paso. Yeah, so of Middle's 4 losses, 2 are to UTEP. I feel like Rick Ensel and his coaching staff will have the Lady Raiders razor sharp for tomorrow.
I would have to agree. No question there. The 2 coaches of the year will go at it for a chance to make the finals. Should be a lot of fun to watch. I have no idea who's on the other side of the bracket.
Western Kentucky was the 2 seed. Rice was the 3. And I don't know who won. They're not updating their bracket, which on the website, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, right now, those teams are playing right now. UAB is trailing Western Kentucky 57-52 with 6:48 to go in the game.
Okay.
Rice is up on UTSA 31-19, and UTEP, obviously, you just said won. So.
Okay. So the 2 winners of the current games will play each other at 7 tomorrow night.
That's why we didn't know who was playing, because they're not over yet.
No.
There you go. All right. Joseph Simmons standing by, so we will get to him in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break here from the Lee Company studio on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back to the Murphy Center right after these messages. We'll hand out some hardware and talk to the Green Hill girls basketball coach.
In Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd. The goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Don't miss a minute of the action this season. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to get your seats today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Back live at Murphy Center here with Mo Patton. I'm Chris Yow on this Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are coming to you from the Mobile Lee Company studio and from the Blue Cross Basketball Championships, thanks to our friends at Jones & Lang Sporting Goods. We now go to Coach's Corner, which is presented by our friends at From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. And we talk to Green Hill coach Joseph Simmons, who's joining us now. And looking forward to this conversation because, boy, what a win on Tuesday night for the Lady Hawks, especially after the heartbreaking loss for the boys over at Independence on Monday night. Joseph Simmons and his girls lifted the spirits of the Green Hill faithful with that win. Coach, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you having me.
We can barely hear you, and it's not your fault because this crowd is wild here at Westview in York right now. There you are.
He knows about a wild crowd, I'm sure, coming off of that 55-45 win on Tuesday in the Class 4A state quarterfinals over Clarksville. Coach, again, thanks for joining us for a little bit, and congratulations. Third-year program. You don't see many of those make state tournament. What has been the key for you guys to this point?
I just think, it all started back last May after I got hired. We just rolled up our sleeves and went to work and try to become better each and every day. And I think our schedule this season, obviously it was done before I got the job. And I think Coach Allen on the boys' side did a good job of scheduling some good teams that would challenge us and that would expose us. The more that I'm in this business, the more I realize that the more you can be exposed, you got more things you can go back to the drawing board and work on to make sure that you're prepared for postseason play. And I felt like that's what our schedule did. And we've been playing well at the right time. And I think the girls have really bought into the defensive side of the ball.
Coaching with Coach Allen, you know the value about that defensive buy-in in particular, I guess. But, again, big win on Tuesday over Clarksville, a Miss Basketball finalist in Amani Berry. I know you don't really care what anybody else has to say or predictions or anything like that, but I think for a lot of folks, you guys kind of came off the radar a little bit to get that victory.
Absolutely. They had beat us by 18 earlier in the season. And, if you look at our record, we've said this a lot lately, it's not glamorous. It looks like we're a mediocre team. And I think you got to credit our schedule for a lot of those reasons. We had some losses that piled up on us. And, as the season wound down, we continued to get better and better. And heading into postseason, I think the girls realized everybody's record is 0-0 when you hit that postseason. And so we knew that the only people that mattered were the ones in our locker room. And we needed to believe in one another and believe in what we were doing and eliminate the outside noise and the distractions. And our girls have done a great job of that.
We're trying to eliminate some outside noise ourselves, Coach. But as you said, improves to 18-16 with that win. You'll play Bartlett 33-7. Bartlett in the early game tomorrow, 10 o'clock start. And we had Noah McKay from the Upper Cumberland Reporter on earlier in the show and talked about the value of playing a challenging schedule so that when you get here, there aren't a whole lot of surprises, and there certainly aren't a whole lot of surprises about your team. You know who you've got in your locker room.
Absolutely. Our seniors have been fantastic. Obviously, it starts with Aubrey Blankenship, our Division I signee to Samford University, and what she brings to the table. And our other seniors have played in big games as well. But I think I've been telling people this all season. A lot of people have looked at me like I'm crazy, but I think yesterday proved me right. Cookeville is much, much better than what people are giving them credit for, and we're in their district. And we ended up playing them 4 times up to this point, and we've taken it on the chin. I think the closest we played them was 12. They were missing a couple of starters during that game, and we had a chance to beat them down 4 with about 4 minutes to go on the road. But other than that, they've handled us a little bit. But our girls have competed, and they've gotten better. I know the scores don't indicate that. But when you're playing a top 5 team in the state 4 times in your own district, I think nothing could prepare you better for postseason than that. And we knew going into region play and potentially into sub-state that those teams weren't as good as Cookeville. And so that's kind of how we approached it and attacked it, that, hey, girls, we're prepared. We've played against good competition, and you're ready for this moment. And they've just stepped up to each and every challenge, and we've faced it head on, one game at a time.
Joseph Simmons joining us here on Main Street Sports today on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. Go see Renee Hart and the fine folks out in Chapel Hill at From the Heart Cafe, whether you need breakfast, lunch, catering, dinner, does not matter. She will take care of you. Coach, do you feel like it's a little easier to, or at least less stressful, less pressure on your team at this point? You kind of feel like you're playing with house money?
Oh, absolutely. We talk about that all the time. I had to explain to some of my players what house money was, but it's I told somebody the other day, I said, this is probably the least amount of stress I've been under as a coach in my career in 19 years. Been to state tournaments in Arkansas and Kentucky and now Tennessee, on the private school side at Good Pasture as well now. And this is probably the most stress-free I've been coaching. And I'm just having fun, and we're just enjoying the ride and staying in the moment. And, man, these girls are making me more and more proud to be their coach each and every day, because the effort that they give and the love they have for each other, and they're playing for that name on their chest. And even though we're a third-year program, I think we're winning a lot of fans over in the city of Mount Juliet.
Coach, I understand that you guys are on spring break this week, which I would imagine has both its pluses and its minuses, but it just in terms of, crowd and fan support and that kind of thing, how I don't want to say disappointing, but what's the emotion that these young ladies don't have a whole lot of their student body here with them as they, notch that victory on Tuesday as they get ready for Bartlett tomorrow?
Absolutely. I think obviously the timing is not perfect. It was a very, very early spring break. As far as I know, we might be one of the only counties around here that are on spring break right now. And so the crowd support has been fantastic from the adult side, the fan side, the parent side. But, obviously our kids, our student body is on spring break, and a lot of people make plans well into the future, and so a lot of people are out of town, but I know they're listening to our Green Hill Sports Network. They're listening and watching online on NFHS, and they're supporting us from afar, because we've been getting tons of text messages and phone calls supporting us. But it definitely is disappointing, because I think a lot of people are missing out on watching this team. It might not be the prettiest thing to watch. We're going to ugly it up a little bit, but at the end of the day, they don't put ugly win in the paper. They just put win. And so I just think this is a fun team to watch, especially the way we've been playing down the stretch, and they deserve to be supported. But unfortunately, our student body's out of town, and, we talk all the time, control what you can control, and we can't control that. And so the girls have done a good job of just going out and playing no matter who's watching, whether there's 1,000 people in the bleachers or whether there's nobody in the bleachers. We're going to play the same way. And so just super proud of this team, and just excited for this run that they've gone on, and allowing us to be a part of it.
Coach, this has to be one of the most exciting times that you've experienced as a coach. Where does this rank as far as, the atmosphere, the state tournament? We talked about it. It's just a different world when you get to Murfreesboro and you get to the Glass House. Where does this rank in the terms of, what you've experienced as a coach in almost 20 years?
Yeah, I try to draw off the experiences I've had. I said this the other night at a press conference. I try to steal from coaches that are successful and pick their brain. But I've been fortunate and blessed to be around some really good people, work with good people, have some good players. But was fortunate in Arkansas to experience the state tournament and make it to the Final 8. And then coaching junior college as an assistant men's coach in Alabama. We got to experience going to the national tournament and finishing 5th. That was pretty neat. And then coaching in Kentucky high school basketball and girls, where there's only one class. And so it's pretty tough to get there. And we were fortunate to get to the Elite 8 twice, and go to the state 3 times. But being in Tennessee, I've been to the private school state tournament. I was telling my assistants the other day, they asked me, they said, how does this compare to the Division II experience that you had a few years ago at Good Pasture? And I said, this doesn't compare. Like, this is really, really special. I feel like the Murphy Center, there's something about it. It's historic. You know, the tradition and history that have been in that building. Everybody talks about the glass house, and this is my 6th year in Tennessee and the first time I've gotten to experience it as a head coach. There's nothing like it. Like you said, this is a lot of good coaches, a lot of good teams never make it here. And so we talk to our team all the time. Hey, we want to make this a yearly thing, but at the same time, we got to understand we don't know when the next time is that Green Hill will make it. And so we want to make the most of our experience. We want to soak it up, enjoy every moment that we get together as a team, because this team's always going to have a bond now, being the first team in program history to make it, to get a win. And man, it's just a special group of kids. So I would say this would rank right up there at the top for me. But this has been fun. It's been a great ride, and we don't want to see it end, but we know we've got a tall test ahead of us in Bartlett.
Coach, you just made a great point, and I don't know how many high school coaches actually grasp it. You know, you want to win every game you play, but at the same time, you want to enjoy this experience as well. Yeah, how do you balance those?
Well, it's taken me a while. I'm pretty stubborn, hard-headed, but it's taken me a while to get to this point. I think you have to, not get too high, and you got to not get too low. Don't let your highs get too high. Don't hit rock bottom when the lows are there, and appreciate all these moments. I know I tell the girls this all the time. When I was in high school in Arkansas, our team my junior year was #1 in the state. In 3 years, we won 93 games, made it to the state tournament, and it was expected. And so we didn't really celebrate wins. It was business. And since I've gotten on the coaching side of it, I've learned that winning is hard and it's not easy. There's a lot of time and effort that go into it that people don't see. And so we celebrate every win. I don't care if we're playing a team ranked 150th in the state or if we're playing the #2 team in the state. If we win, we're going to celebrate it the same, because winning is hard. If you look at the end of the year at people's records in the standings, you're going to have a lot more teams with losing records than winning records. And the reason is winning is hard. And so I'm trying to instill the value of in our girls. When you're competing in life or sports, you're trying to win, and winning is important. And you got to celebrate the wins because it's not easy. And so we celebrate it. The girls are fun to be around, and I hope they're enjoying their high school experience. I know I'm enjoying getting to be around them. But I definitely, as I've gotten older, nearing year 20 in coaching, I definitely try to soak it up because I know how hard it is to do it consistently.
Well, we're looking forward to you continuing that run tomorrow as Green Hill and Bartlett, as you say, lift the lid on this place at 10 a.m.
They are the lid lifter. Yes, sir.
You know what? How difficult is that, Coach, playing at 10 a.m.?
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about that today at practice this morning. We practiced at 10 a.m. just to get them used to it. And but we did play maybe a 9 or 10 o'clock game, I think, over Christmas break at a tournament we were in Kentucky. And so that would be the only experience we could draw from this year. But we wanted to definitely make sure the girls were aware of the situation. So we did practice this morning at 10 a.m. because that's what time they'll be playing tomorrow. And so, at the end of the day, we tell our girls all the time, the hay's in the barn. You've been prepared. You know what's at stake. Let's just go out and play and have fun and work hard and let the chips fall where they may. I know a lot of people out there aren't giving us a chance. And so it's been fun to be the underdog and be on this Cinderella run. But I guarantee you, we're going to go down fighting, win or lose, and we're going to make our community and our school proud.
One of the positives of that spring break is you can practice at 10 a.m. They ain't got class.
Right.
There are some good and there is some bad. But, Coach, we appreciate you taking some time with us today on Coach's Corner, and looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow morning.
Thank you for having me, and like I said, go Hawks.
Absolutely. Again, Coach's Corner is brought to you by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. Mo, it's time to hand out some hardware.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to that.
Let's do it. You want to start it up?
That's right. We'll take you to the In to Win Life Team of the Week presented by Custom Stone Handlers. That is customstonehandlers.com or 931-490-4990.
Our In to Win Life Team of the Week won a couple of ball games last week in the Region 5-2A tournament, defeated Cheatham County 85-73 in the semifinals and defeated host Fairview 61-41 in the championship. The Giles County Bobcats coming back to the state tournament for the first time since 2011. These seniors were in kindergarten.
It's first of all, I don't want to think that these seniors were in kindergarten in 2011. Like, that's not that long ago. That was only like 3 years ago.
That's what you get, though, see, for that stuff about I've been writing longer than you've been alive and that kind of thing. Now you get to feel old. How's it feel, big boy?
It does not feel good. Listen, see? I know how old I am. You know why? Because every time I try to get up out of the floor from playing with the kids, I'm reminded every single time. It never fails. Congrats to Soup, as he is affectionately known, Nick Campbell and the Giles County Bobcats for being our In to Win Life Team of the Week. Now our MTBJ Athlete of the Week, Mo.
Sophomore, he's listed as a guard, but he plays literally 1 through 5 for Independence. Sophomore Tylen Lewis is our MTBJ Clinic Athlete of the Week this week. Averaged 11.5 points in a couple of Independence victories during the region tournament, including 17 in their win over Nolensville in the semifinals. But his impact on that team goes beyond the scoring column.
Oh, no question. No question.
And he is just so fun to watch, and really looking forward to seeing him on this floor up here with that Independence team next week. But Indy sophomore Tylen Lewis is our MTBJ athlete of the week this week. So congrats to him.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take our final break of the day. It's halftime here. Westview leads York 23-18 after a three-pointer at the buzzer. Cuts the lead to 5 for the Lady Dragons.
Lady Dragons.
Not Dragonettes.
No.
That'd be way cooler.
They might be Dragonettes, actually. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I like Dragonettes.
We'll check on that.
Good.
Yeah.
Anyway, they do trail right now, Westview and the Chargers 23-18. We'll be right back with more from the Mobile E Company studio on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint after these messages.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller from Mornings on Main Street. Join us March 23rd at Bridgestone Arena with the Nashville Predators for Main Street Media Night. I know Devin O'Day will be here.
You know I will be, Stephanie. Plus, you can register for a Predators prize pack. They were going to call it the Hockey Hootenanny, but they changed. So it's going to have 4 tickets and food vouchers. You got to register to win.
We're looking forward to seeing all of our Main Street Sports Today fans, right, Chris?
Absolutely, we are. And we could not do this without, of course, our owner, Dave Gould, and our friends here at Smashville.
Speaking of,
where is Dave?
We will see you March 23rd for Main Street Media Night.
Let's go, Prince!
Do I have the wrong night?
Welcome back into Murphy Center, site of the Blue Cross Basketball Championships. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton here with you in the Mobile Lee Company studio on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Again, our coverage here from Murphy Center today and tomorrow brought to you by our friends at Jones & Lang Sporting Goods in Columbia. The look of a winner. And gotta love that, the look of a winner. It's a fantastic slogan. It's remarkable that we have things stopping people, and yet they don't stop people.
Apparently, we don't have things stopping people because they're not stopping people. Yeah,
it's remarkable.
Anyway,
people will work hard not to walk an extra 4 steps. Apparently. Whatever.
Ole Miss and Tennessee tied at 31, 4:13 left in the first half.
That's 31. That's not good for Tennessee if Ole Miss has 31 points. But like I said, you never know what you're going to get. You just don't know with an interim coach. And it looks like Ole Miss is playing inspired basketball right now. And obviously Tennessee without Zakai Ziegler, it's not ideal situation.
Well, they're playing inspired basketball, but they're also shooting 11 of 22 from the floor, 5 of 9 from 3.
And that's not what Tennessee is going to allow you to do most of the time. I mean, they're shooting better than 50% from three-point land. That's one, you don't feel like that's sustainable.
You hope that's not sustainable.
And
stranger things have happened.
Sure. There's no question that it could. I'm just saying. Also, Dragonettes.
Or Lady Dragons.
It's your choice.
Yeah.
Dealer's choice.
What? You can call them whatever you want to, just don't call them late for dinner.
That's right. No.
Yeah. JoJo James with 8 points. Kamwa with 7 to lead Tennessee so far. So we'll see how that one goes. Go ahead.
I was going to move on.
Move on.
All right. So yesterday we talked about this, and apparently Dennis Dodd was watching the show.
Apparently.
Because he wrote a column about the Big 12, Pac-12 situation and basically said a lot of the same things, Mo, that we were saying.
Mm-hmm.
This just seems like it's one, in the world of realignment, this makes more sense than anything else that's happened in Power 5 world. With the 4 corner schools, potentially finding their way to the Big 12.
Dennis Dodd's tweet at Dennis Dodd CBS. Big 12 readies to pounce on 4 corner schools as doubt creeps in about Pac-12's viability.
Now, is there a viability concern with
if they lose those schools?
The Pac-12, then yes. But, I mean, if they don't, there's not really a viability concern, is there?
No, I don't think there is as long as they're able to hang on to those schools. As we said in our conversation the other day, if they lose those schools, and I really feel like those schools are pretty well going to be in lockstep.
They're going.
I think they are a package deal.
Yes.
Either they stay in the Pac-12 together, or they go to the Big 12 together.
Well, here's what could happen, and this is just a thought. And we're running out of time quickly, but if Colorado leaves, does the Pac-12 go after CSU? Do they go after Utah State? Man, to try and stay in those markets?
I just don't know what Colorado State and Utah State bring to the Pac-12 relative to what they will have lost at that point.
Relatively, absolutely nothing. But number of teams is important, and those markets are the same no matter what. Because Colorado and Utah is just one big TV market.
Right.
It's not like,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah. Well, they've got to be really brainstorming, because this is a very real possibility, I think.
It absolutely is. Well, we've made it through this Thursday show thanks to our guest, Noah McKay, and the Dragonettes have just hit another 3 to pull within 2 here with 7:40 to go in the third quarter. So we'll tell you the results tomorrow on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We say goodbye from the Mobile Lee Company studio on this Thursday. Again, we'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Thanks to Jones & Lang Sporting Goods once again for sponsoring our coverage from the Blue Cross Basketball Championships live from Murphy Center. We'll see you tomorrow.